Hello and welcome to the Trail and Adventure Motorbike Podcast with me, Clive Barber, and my good mate, Noel Tom. For the days when you can't ride your bike, there's always the Trail and Adventure Motorbike Podcast. So we're joined today, Peter Gray from Wilderness Wheels in Morocco. Now, this is a bit of an on-spec podcast. I didn't know until yesterday Peter was back in the UK. I was a customer of Peter's. I think I've been out to Morocco 4 times now and become something of a friend, I'd hope.
Yeah.
Peter was passing by, so I said, well, let's do a podcast. And Noel, being the gentleman of leisure that he is, was able to swing by as well.
I've done a hard day's work to get here.
Mate, you got here at 3 o'clock. That doesn't really count as a hard day.
Finished at 12.
Excellent. So thanks for joining us, Peter. I hope you enjoyed the tea and cake, but now it's
excellent cake, yes.
Back down to business now. So do you want to explain to us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, well, I'm from Newcastle originally. Travelled with work in my 20s, Australia and South America in engineering. And then in our late 20s, ended up in Morocco. Started a company called Wilderness Wheels in 2000, doing off-road bike trips in the south of Morocco.
Did you go to Morocco with the intention of starting a company?
No, we'd been out on holiday on my own, and then when I got married, went on holiday with my wife, and we're quite interested in looking for work opportunities there before we started a family.
Why Morocco?
It's just an interesting place to be to go to. Yeah, hadn't really been in Africa before. I'd been in other countries, and it's fairly accessible, quite close to get to.
Were there bike trips?
Not really at the time. That was one of the things that sort of encouraged me to get started. On the first holiday, we went out in 95. I thought, well, it'll be something to do. I've always been keen on and enthusiastic about bikes. So I looked around, and there was a couple of buggy outfits, I think one quad business, but no one really doing organised turn up and ride off-road trips. So that's really got the ball rolling in my head anyway.
And have you always been in Ouarzazate, or were you in?
Yeah, in the town of Ouarzazate. Yeah, we studied Arabic in Fez for about 6 months when we first moved down there in 98, and then been in Ouarzazate after.
So you're fairly fluent in Arabic,
French, in Moroccan Arabic,
and French as well. It's just English you need to learn now.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a joke.
So you mainly speaking French or Arabic?
Mainly Arabic.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a few other companies out there now, or are they still around?
There was a couple of small outfits run by middle-aged Frenchmen. One outside Marrakesh, and then another one down in Agadir. So it was sort of 6 bikes, and sit around and have a bit of a smoke, and let's go and ride the bikes, sort of thing. But yeah, I think we were probably one of the first sort of serious advertisers on the internet. And
So what's the setup you've got now? How many bikes have you got now?
We were up to about 28 bikes.
28?
Yeah.
Wow.
We had a branch in Marrakesh till 2012. So we've gone from Hondas to another fleet of Hondas, and then some Yamaha TTR 250s. And then since 07 we've been on KTMs, 450s, and then 690s. At one point we had 28 bikes, and sort of downsizing now to about a dozen, about 12 bikes, give or take. So it's enough to run a sort of a nice size tour.
So have you been riding bikes since you were a kid?
Since I was about 10 or 11, I think I got introduced to off-roading on scooters.
See, it's a common theme.
Every single podcast we've done so, apart from John Ross, people started riding on scooters.
He lived riding a scooter.
He's probably got one now, which didn't dare to tell us. So what sort of trips do you do? How long do they last for, and where do you go?
So the typical trip would be a 5-day trip. And guys getting a pass out for a week to go on a bike holiday. They'll fly the weekend, ride Monday to Friday, and then fly back out the weekend. So 5-day trip seems to make sense for most people. We can do 3-day trips as well. So it's really just depending on what people want to do.
Is it you're a little bit scathing of these kind of organised trips, aren't you?
Why'd you say that?
Well, it's because it's true, isn't it? But for me, we were talking about this earlier. For me, the sort of trips that you offer are for people like me that have a full-time job. You get 25 days holiday a year. You've got small children to look after. I can't take weeks out. If I get to do one bike trip a year, then
I don't think I'm scathing. I just don't like being led too much.
It's not for you.
No, I don't know what it is about it. I think I quite like just my own pace thing about riding somewhere.
The adventure of getting lost.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and just stopping for as long as I want to stop and where I want to stop.
Fair enough.
And not just keeping it with a group.
But the real advantages for me is going out to Morocco, and I've been out 4 times now with Wilderness Wheels, and obviously absolutely love it. I think we mentioned in the first podcast the trip that I did in 2007, which was a 5-day, and we were basically pre-rode some of the Dakar course because you had a neighbour that managed to get hold of the road book for some sections of the Dakar. So we actually pre-rode the course for a few days, but not quite as fast or as far as as the Dakar boys.
I even got lost once.
We did. There was one night we got in fairly late and it was dark and not all the headlights were working, and I think we rode for something like 13 hours and we'd run out of water. But that, what a story!
Yeah, that's the one you remember,
just
isn't it?
Awesome. Yeah. It's probably the best biking day of my life, I think, in all the years I've been riding. But to me, to be able to jump on a plane, arrive in Marrakesh, you get picked up in a minibus, you get taken to Ouarzazate. The next day you kit up, you jump on a bike and you spend 3, 4, 5 days riding through some of the most amazing scenery. The pistes are endless. There isn't a gate, there isn't a fence. There doesn't seem to be many restrictions as to where you can't go. And then, after 5 days you jump back on a plane and you come home and you go to work. It's just unbelievably good, I think.
Yeah, and the main advantage, I think, of going on an organised trip, whether it's with ourselves or another type of these tours, somewhere else in the world, is if there's a problem, the organiser sorts it. So if there's a bike problem, it's their bike and they sort it. If you fall off and get injured, they'll liaise and look after you. Unfortunately, we do see independent folk coming down to Morocco, and inevitably I'll get a phone call, "Hi, we've got a breakdown, we've got somebody in hospital, can you help?" And sometimes, if it's local, sometimes I'll have capacity to help. Very often I'll have to say no. Yeah. So that's one of the big advantages in a country where things can go wrong. If you don't speak the language, it could be a bit of an adventure too far. Put it that way.
Well, again, we were talking about the trip. I came back in 2008, and after 5 days of the previous year of trouble-free riding, I managed to crash after 2 hours of a 5-day trip and ended up in hospital then, which was rather disappointing, it must be said.
I think you briefly held a record for shortest tour
participation. All right, we don't need to talk about that.
I said briefly, I mean, that's actually been bettered.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, literally 10 metres from turning off the first tarmac.
Oh, God. Absolutely. God.
Somebody just dropped the front end. And
do you find quite often people are unrealistic about their capabilities?
Typically the Brits, so we get a lot of French riders, a lot of Scandinavians. Typically the French will say we ride okay, and they've been like riding national level enduros 20 years ago. And the Brits will often come around and say, we're a bit tasty, and it's some London boys who have sort of been on a one-day course.
So tell us about that. What kind of scenery are we talking about? What are the trails like, or the pistes like over there? How do they vary to what we might be used to in the UK?
South of Morocco is basically a desert, so we might get 2, 3, 4 days of rainy air. So all our tracks are most of the time very dry, quite rocky. And when it does rain, it's heavy rain, which damages the terrain, damages the track. So if it's a track that's not used often, you're going to have some damage on it, some washouts to ride into, which can be very dangerous. A lot of people say that they struggle with finding grip, whether it's dry sand, whether it's dry pebbles, whether it's dry rocks. It's totally different to riding on damp forest fields. With the right tyres, you get a lot of grip on that. When it's rocky, it's very slippy all the time. So it's just finding the riding style that will give you a bit of confidence. So
I remember when I've ridden with you, quite often you have 2 guides. You kind of have one at the front, one at the back, and then you'll have a support vehicle as well with a trailer on potentially? Is that common practice these days?
I mean, it depends which tour we're on. We can't take a trailer off road. We've got a bike carrier. If there's a breakdown or an accident, we can transport a bike with us if needed. Typically, I don't really want to go above 8. I think you've been on some of the bigger groups that we've done where it's been over 8. So we'll bring two guides.
Right.
But typically, it's just me or one of the other guides up front, and we'll have line of sight most of the time to everybody behind us. And we find that's the easiest and safest way for people to ride. We don't give people GPSs. We need to just baby them really, just look after everybody. If there's something dangerous, slightly, or could be dangerous, we stop. Just let everybody catch up and then start again.
I'd imagine it's fairly easy to get lost over there as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's tracks all over. You could literally go from one side of the country to the other, or off-road. So yeah, there is a big network of tracks. So it's knowing where to go, and there tends to be a main track. Yeah, so as a rule of thumb, if we're turning off the main track, we'll stop. If we haven't turned off, just keep following the main one. But yeah, I mean, it's quite easy to keep an eye on people. You know, you only need 100 meters, 200 meters between bikes.
So you've been operating out there for
18 years.
18 years now. Yeah. So you must know the local.
I haven't lost anybody yet.
So you presumably you also know the piste like the back of your hand as well.
Certainly in the area around Ouarzazate, and south of us, yeah, the desert, the Anti-Atlas, we know them quite well. We've started moving around the country different times of year. So summer, it's from end of June, it's 40 degrees. In Ouarzazate, it's too hot. We do some forest itineraries up in the cedar forests near Fez. So slowly learning that area. We can go down the coast a little bit as well.
So do you have a base up there, or do you just transport it?
No, just transport the bikes up, and there's Ryanair flying to Fez, which is like an hour from where we actually start. So it's absolutely incredible riding. We've had a couple of people out recently. I was up there in June and just saying it's the best. I've been riding for years and it's the best off-road we've done.
Beats the desert trips. I've still got unfinished business with the big dunes. What's the big famous dune called?
Shigaga.
Okay, I'm thinking of Shurgebi.
Ugchebi, yes.
Ugchebi,
Shigaga
right.
is the other ones, yeah. Ugchebi. Right. Yeah, did you not make it up
That's
there?
when I damaged my shoulder and I couldn't actually...
Oh, you didn't get there, that's right.
No, so I still need to come back and do that. But that isn't that one of the highest dunes in Morocco or something?
Yeah, it's sort of it's 800 foot dune or something. It's quite a big one. It's quite a big one.
And that's the night I think we bivvied out as well in the tents.
Yeah, and then an early start to watch the Dakar.
That's right, yeah. That was amazing. I'll be able to do that again.
Fried egg sandwich.
I can't remember, I was in so much bloody pain.
Yeah, we got out of the truck and I was knocking out some fried egg sandwiches. And
right. So that's the other thing. I mean, the food and the accommodation out there are pretty remarkable as well. And that, I guess that's another benefit of having an organised tour, is that you know a lot of good places to stay in, restaurants, and the food out there. I love the food.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people say we sort of undersell the food and the accommodation side of things. I just assume people know that they're going to have something nice, and they get out and think, oh, it's like we weren't expecting something as nice.
Well, it's palatial. I mean, I remember that 13-hour day or whatever it was, and we were all exhausted, and we got there, and it was like we just arrived in some
guy's house.
No, I think that night we actually stayed in it. It was like a palace hotel with this amazing pool outside, and it was all the rich reds and carpets and
okay.
I have no idea where we were.
Yeah. We still use that. Yeah, down in Fumzigid.
Just beautiful.
Well, I did a circuit of Morocco with my girlfriend, and quite often at night in the hotel, I just thought I felt like I'd won some kind of competition, or I was some sort of lottery winner, because it was just the most unbelievable hotels.
Yeah,
some of them were a bit jaded, but on the whole, they were
fantastic. There's a lot of tired hotels in Morocco, so just finding the right place where the food's good, the hot water works, and it's just you've got a nice ambience there. So, I mean, as a rule of thumb, we've got half-board accommodation built into the tour at about £40 a night if you're in a twin share, and it'll be something nice, nice for that, and then dinner on top.
So do you have some hotels that you've been going to for since the beginning?
I don't think so. The one that we based the tours out of in Ouazzazate, we've been there for about 12 years, I think. That one that Clive just mentioned with the pool with the lights in.
That is really nice.
That was their first year of operating, so we still go there. So that's 10 years we've been going there.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, very often it's, if there's a market in a certain area for adventure groups to go to, somebody will put up a nice sort of guest house or boutique hotel, and we'll find out about it, and if it's good enough, we'll use it.
Well, Ouazzazate's quite an interesting place. Tell us a little bit more about Ouazzazate, where your base is, from the film and the studios and.
Well, it was developed in the 1920s by the French as a sort of as a garrison town, really. That's the way they were just extending their influence in the country. So there was a little runway and military garrison there. And then in the 60s it started getting used for filming. So a bit of Lawrence of Arabia was done down there. And then Jewel in the Nile in the 80s, Michael Douglas did a big shoot there, which apparently disrupted the town for about 3 months. So the governor said, well, enough of this. So they put some studios up on the outskirts of town, and it's sort of grown from there. So
you're going to tell us your Brad Pitt double story?
Brad Pitt double story.
You went out, didn't? I think it was Brad went out riding with Brad Pitt, didn't he, for the day?
That's right, yeah.
Or was it you or Brad that had to pretend to be him?
Brad pretended to be Brad.
It's so confusing. So
there's another Brad. Yeah, there's another.
Two Brads.
There was two Brads. There's Brad Pitt
What are the chances
and
of
then
that?
Brad, the guide, Brad. Who's
that
left
Brad?
the phone on? It's not Brad.
Is that Brad calling me again? I've told him.
Leave me alone.
Try to block his number.
But didn't you have to didn't you hire a bike or something and you had to ride it to get the paparazzi
So I was okay. So what was happening? I got to know some of the crew quite well. There was quite a lot of British guys working in the cinema industry, special effects guys. So I was often going out, taking them out at the weekend. And one of the production guys rang up one week and said, one of the cast wants to go out for a ride, but we can't tell you who it is. But it'll just be him and his bodyguard.
Right.
So
Who did you think it would be?
I have no idea, because they don't advertise, and when they're filming, it's always a code name for the film. It's sort of they just make up some daft name, and that's the name that you see.
You think you'd just be thinking Cruise on McGregor? It's got to be one of those.
You would, wouldn't
Well,
you?
it was 2000. It was 2005. So So anyway, so I get a couple of bikes ready and take them out for the day. So this blacked out Land Cruiser pulled up and Brad Pitt got out. It was probably the biggest name in films at the time. So it was quite a bizarre day, really.
Decent bloke.
Seemed really nice. Yeah, God, it was just him and his bodyguard called Dave.
And his bodyguard was riding bikes as well, or
Yeah, he came out, riding as well.
And this was dirt bikes they were taking out.
Yeah, it was XR400s. Yeah.
superb. But didn't you ride his BMW?
So they were going to come the following week, and then they were filming, so they didn't come. And then the production guys rang back and said, it was a Friday afternoon, they said, can we send a car to pick you up? We need you to ride Brad's bike, because he had his own BMW out there for getting from the hotel up to the location. So I said, yeah, that's fine. So I packed some gear, and they took me up to the set, which is about 20 miles away. Said, oh, there's Brad's trailer if you just go and sit in it. So I'm in this sort of these big sort of,
RVs type thing.
Yeah, sort of big RV thing, and there's Brad's phone there and Brad's camera there, and
Was there someone peeling grapes for him?
no, there's nobody in there. Nobody in. It was just about 15 minutes later, Brad came in off the set with his makeup and outfit on, and
What were they filming then?
so the film was a thing called Babel.
Great film, great soundtrack.
Okay.
Good film.
I thought it was a little bit weird.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, a bit art house.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And so they wanted sort of me in there for 10 minutes, and then put a helmet on and got the keys to his bike and had to ride back to the hotel.
Just so they
Just the thought, okay, Brad's gone to the hotel for the weekend, and he just sat tight in the trailer and took him off somewhere else.
wow, lives of the rich and famous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then £100 tip on the Monday.
Really?
Keep my mouth shut. Yeah.
That's all right, isn't it? Better than a kick in the air.
$100 actually.
Right, slightly less.
I'm amazed they let him ride. That's amazing, isn't it? During film.
During the film, yeah.
I think probably him and Tom Cruise are big enough that
do whatever they
want to do that.
Yeah.
Well, there's that Ewan McGregor story, isn't there, where he's trying to get an advance on a film he's making, and he kept pestering the payroll guy so much that the director called him into his office and went, "Just take the money." He gave him the money, just go buy a fucking bike and leave the people alone. I think he got a Ducati or something like that.
That's twice you've mentioned Ewan McGregor now. There's a fine for that kind of talk.
Well, he did come to Bazza actually. He did salmon fishing in the Yemen.
Okay, and that was shot in...
Some was shot there as well. So,
what does make Morocco then such a great destination for bikers?
Well, I've got clients and friends from sort of all around Europe, and the common thing seems to be we can't ride off-road anymore. Friends from Switzerland say you basically can't ride off-road at all. Very difficult to race even off-road, and that's sort of the way it's going a lot of places now. So for off-road riders, literally, as long as you're not on somebody's fields, you can literally, or in a national park, you can literally ride wherever you want.
And what's the most remote sort of location you get to? How far away from anything civilized? Do you do that? Do you get into the middle of nowhere?
You get in the middle of nowhere, but the desert, there's a sort of a strip of desert down the Algerian border where a lot of four-wheel drive and bike groups go. So, and there's quite defined tracks. So you feel you're in the middle of nowhere, but in season there's quite a lot of traffic down there. More likely you're sort of down the coast. If you get on some of the remote beaches, or this forest tour that we do sort of in summer that I mentioned. You can literally ride all day and you're going to see some shepherds wandering around, and that's it. You're not going to hit a town. You're not going.
But you're not having like fuel caches or anything like that.
No, if we've got packs of cans, 20-litre cans. So occasionally, if we know there's not going to be a fuel station, we'll bring our own fuel.
And picnicking off the bonnet of a Land Cruiser in the Sahara Desert.
Yeah,
doesn't get much better than that.
So when you thought about having this company and becoming a guide, has it turned out to be how you thought it would be, or how is it different? If it is different?
Yeah, I mean, I really just had to play it by ear and sort of learn on the job. I mean, the first time I had a group at Igchebi, I'd never actually ridden there myself. I'd been out there in the car,
right.
And I'd done a bit of beach riding in the northeast of England, but like dry desert is like totally different.
Yeah.
So we really just had to muddle along. Unfortunately, I was less bad than they were. They were actually dreadful. So I sort of looked half decent.
Just keep one step ahead of it.
And it's really, dune riding is incredibly good fun. It can be quite dangerous as well. So it's just one of those things, those skills that you just need practice. And
Well, I remember telling people how to do it. I hadn't done it before. Again, I'd never done it before either. I just read about how you do it. And it's
just,
that whole...
Just keep on the gas.
Keep on the gas, obviously. Keep the back wheel going. And then you can't steer with the front wheel. You have to steer either with your feet on the footrest or you lean and then just squirt the throttle. And I was telling people this. And I remember at the end of the day, fantastic advice, Clive. And I was thinking...
You're always doing that, aren't you?
Pretending I know stuff that that's what I do for a living, basically. I'm a consultant. I know nothing. Shouldn't admit to that. And again, I think I know the answer to this, having been there several times. But Morocco's safe, isn't it?
Security-wise, yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got 4 kids. They've all grown up there. Now they're into their teens. They go and visit friends in different cities. Just get the bus.
Do you find a lot of people are surprised by that?
Sort of
that it's safer than they think it's going to be.
Yeah, I guess it gets lumped together. Just sort of North Africa, a little bit edgy, can be dangerous, but yeah, the Moroccan authorities do an excellent job. It's a closed border actually, with all the bordering countries pretty much, and they do a very good job of keeping it that way. Domestically, it's a good national economy, very stable country and a stable government. So it's no worries at all.
No, I've never felt insecure there ever really. You get a bit hassle in the bigger cities and the marketplaces, but it's always very friendly, and I've never had any serious grief. So you're obviously in the UK now in the summertime. What times of the year do you operate?
So we come back mid-July and August every year.
Simply because it's too hot out
It's just really too hot. And I find that European people, there's enough things to do in Europe in the summer. So really from September when we go back, October is normally a very busy month, November into December as well, over Christmas, New Year. And then it's a bit quiet, and then May, April, we're like sort of out every other week.
Right.
Weather's generally perfect, so sort of mid to high 20s, sun. So when you're still having a bit of a crappy European winter, especially if you're from Scandinavia, it's a real nice place just to come to for the climate.
Yeah. So from the UK, you can fly directly to Ouarzazate, but
no, you can fly to Agadir, and it's a 5-hour transfer. You can fly to Marrakesh, and it's a 4-hour transfer.
well, even that drive from Marrakesh over the
It's
Atlas
worth doing.
Mountains
It's worth doing.
it's pretty fantastic. Yeah.
And what kind of bikes are you running now?
So we've still got the main fleet are the 2010 450s. Tried an 016 450, the fuel injection. Lovely bikes, really nice to ride, very good, but just harder to ride. It's just the power delivery and just a lot more direct. So I tried one out and I just thought I don't really want to invest in that sort of bike. So we'll just keep on top of the carbureted ones, and very easy to ride. 13 litre tank, you can be out all day on one tank of fuel.
Mm. What about the new Honda 450? You like the look
Looks
of that?
really good. I'd really like to try one out. There's sort of the reviews look okay, but until I've actually ridden it and just see what's it like. I think a few people are complaining, that the service intervals are too short, but the manufacturers always tell you to change stuff before it needs done. If you keep an eye on the colour of the oil, I think on what's the service interval on a 450 KTM oil?
If you read the book, it's every 10 hours. It says in the book.
10 hours.
But
okay.
Realistically, I think people do 20 or 30 hours. If
We
you're just
do.
doing travel.
We do a 5-day tour is 35 to 40 hours. Normally 35 hours. So we do at least that, and sometimes a bit longer.
Yeah.
As long as it's good oil that you're putting in, not a problem.
Yeah.
We've got bikes with over 1,000 hours on.
Wow. I'm still going strong.
Well, I mean, I've had rebuilds, but yeah, certainly would get up to, I think they're seeing 50 hours for piston if you're racing. I mean, we get at least 250 or 300 hours before we take it apart.
That's a good sign.
But trail riding's not racing,
No.
And where do you get your bikes from?
A mixture. I have bought them in the UK and taken them down. Bought the first KTMs down there. I've imported KTMs ourselves, but now they're zero rated. I've got a trade agreement with Europe, so they're zero rated, so they're effectively as cheap in Morocco as they are here. So yeah, the last several were bought just by them there.
So how do people book on one of your trips?
Well, you go directly to the website, wildernesswheelsmorocco.com. If you can't remember that, just Google. If you Google tour KTM Morocco, you'll find us on the first page.
Excellent.
We're on Facebook as well.
And when do you go back to? When are the first tours running?
We're trying to. We've got some new routes up in the Cedar Forest, which we just tracked in June. So we're gonna hopefully in the next week we're gonna get those listed on the website to get people up for September. It's sort of about 30 degrees end of September, and then see how that goes. Got already two big groups booked for October in the desert.
Right.
October's already full.
I'm so jealous. For people considering coming out there, would you take on absolute beginners to off-road riding, or do you recommend people have a bit of riding experience already? I
would say having some off-road experience is essential. You're really not going to enjoy it unless you've got the basics. I've had a couple of times people come out and they've sort of convinced me to take them on the trip. They've either crashed or within the first day say, like, this is too much. So it's a bit of a shame when they've booked holidays and booked flights and paid to come on a tour and it's just too much for them. Yeah. We don't do anything extreme. It's just the type of riding it is out there. Loose, can be loose gravel or just shale or hard pack. Yeah. The bikes do move around a lot.
And how do you assess pace? Do you just sort of ask people, or do you assess it as you set it off?
Ideally, I like a group who comes together. If you've got
We're used to riding.
One booking, if they're ridden together, you can sort of pace it more or less for the slower riders, and the faster guys are just going to have to, put up with it. It's harder when if I've got a booking for 3 and then 2 other guys join it and they don't know each other, and there's a real difference in it can be a little bit more of a challenge to make it work for everybody.
And how long are you riding for most days?
Depends how fast you go. Normally 6 hours, I would say.
How long is the lunch? That's what I need to know.
Oh, the lunches are fantastic. You do have quite nice lunches.
Depends if it's me or Nicola.
Oh, right, if it's Nicola, you get about 10 minutes.
No, he likes a big 2 hour.
Okay.
Yeah, but he gets you up at 7:30.
Oh. Pray you don't get Nicola.
Keep telling me, the people on holiday, So normally it's 8 o'clock breakfast. We're on the bikes and heading off by 9, and then we'll just with a few little stops, maybe have the car join us for a snack at 11, and then we'll be in for 12:30 for just a local cafe for like an hour. Just get a bit of a break, and then normally want to be at the hotel for 4:30.
So do you still offer the old Dakar routes to people as part of it? Is that one of the desert tours? Or?
Yeah. I mean the night hotel with the swimming pool and the lights. Yeah, there's sort of a Dakar track runs right through there. So they've still got the what do they call them? The mounds with the little lights on at night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's across the desert. Lakariki.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was one
across the lake bed.
There was that American guy that had a horrible crash one year, but we actually got chatting to him in the bivouac one night at the end of a stage, and he said he got really confused because he was seeing like these tens of tracks going across Lake Erie. He's thinking, I thought I was in about 4th place, and there's like 20 people ahead of me now. And it turned out that was us that had actually pre-ridden the course the day before or something like that. Fabulous.
And when the Dakar left Morocco, do you think Morocco suffered from it much?
Not really. I mean, you used to get a lot of people coming down for the New Year, and you still get a lot of people coming down for the New Year in the desert. Just come out 4-wheel drive groups and off-road camping cars, and they still come down. So having the Dakar was a bonus. I don't think really, because they pass through so quickly. Yeah. They'd get the ferry in and they'd be through in 3 days.
That was the criticism of it, really, wasn't it?
Doesn't hang around in any country long enough, right?
But with the security issue in the rest of North Africa, there's now about 9 rallies in Morocco. So Touareg, Rally du Maroc. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them, and they're more or less using the same sort of areas.
Right.
Though I have seen next year's Touareg's going to Algeria.
Well, I'm just fascinated that you sort of took quite a lot of gumption, didn't it, to go out there and just think, I'm going to start a company out here and do this.
I mean,
it's kind of everyone's dream, isn't it?
Probably looking back now, yeah. I mean, the initial idea was to be there for about 4 years. My wife got a position with a UK charity that does healthcare out there. So that was part of the initial attraction. So, well, 3 or 4 years. I only started with 6 bikes. So it was enough to do some basic tours. And I thought, we'll keep us out there, and then we'll start a family. We'll come back.
But there's nothing from your engineering background, was it, that lent itself to?
No. It was a total change really for me. My wife had sort of worked as a nurse and midwife in various places. Yeah, just the main difference was, we planned initially just for a short term, and it's sort of become a lifestyle, and we like it, and the kids have grown up there, and it's sort of become home.
And were there plenty of clients from the word go, or did it take a while?
Yeah, I mean, like 2000, it was pre-internet really, but obviously TBM, if you remember that, had been running for about 3 years at that point, and that was like really hitting our key demographic.
Right.
Trail riders, maybe used to race or would like to race and just want to get more riding experience.
So most of it came through TBM?
Initially it was TBM, and then we found an equivalent French magazine, and then I helped some guy out, a Swedish guy, on the Dakar Rally in about 2003, and then he started bringing groups, and then met somebody from Finland who was broken down with his bike, and then they came back every year for about 7 years. Different groups just kept rotating, so just organic.
A lot of it is repeat business, though, isn't it?
A lot of people seem happy. Yeah.
Well, once you do it once, you've got to go back and do it again. And I still need to go and ride at Erg Shebi. So you're taking bookings from...
Got another podcast there. The
yeah, okay.
edition.
Yeah, we'll work on a decent price, and I'll come do a podcast from the desert.
I bet they'll have creaky chairs in Morocco, won't they?
Oh, I bet they've got very creaky. There'll be camels and all sorts in their bag. Didn't you have a question about camels? I was asking Noel, if you've got any questions you want to add to the list, and he's going, has he got a camel? Don't ask him that.
Camel trivia.
Yeah. So you're taking bookings from September this year?
From mid-September, yeah.
Yeah. And have you got any places vacant on your mountains tour in September, or is that all fully booked now?
No, we're going to put the dates. On in the next week or so. So it'll be a 3-day or a 5-day tour in the forest.
Fantastic.
And I'll be flying into Fez, and then just the regular desert stuff from November.
Do you fancy it?
Is there a risk of hitting a monkey?
Just...
I don't mean that's not a euphemism.
There are lots of monkeys out there. Yeah. There's the famous monkey in a bucket story.
Yeah,
we did a tour called Monkey in a Bucket.
Well, I made that. I think that was I made the film of, and I actually got Anthony to tell the story. It was like he's just in a shop in Marrakesh somewhere, and his mate comes in. He goes, "I'm going to do a Geordie accent. Do the voice." So he's going, "Anthony, man, you've got to come out here. There's a bloke washing his monkey in a bucket, and it's going fucking mental." So that became known as the monkey in a bucket tour.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to come out again. Oh yeah, monkeys. Sorry, we're just looking at a picture on Peter's phone of his Land Cruiser absolutely covered in monkeys.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're normally quite happy if you feed them something.
That's all right then. Well, on that monkey note, I think we've...
Let's go and wash a monkey in a bucket.
Let's go and wash a monkey in a bucket. Again, not a euphemism. Peter, thank you very much.
Cheers, Peter.
Check out wildernesswheels.com. And I can't recommend Morocco and Wilderness Wheels enough. It's one of the best things I've ever done on a bike.
Okay, we'll see you in the new year.
See you then.
Out at Egg Jebby.
Look forward to it. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate your support. Don't forget you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you really appreciate what we do, you could consider supporting us on Patreon or buy us a coffee. Links are available on our website, which is tampodcast.com, tampodcast.com, where we also have a limited selection of branded stuff. But either way, please keep listening and spreading the word. See you next time.